before. Hello everyone. My name is Ademola Morebise, and this evening we're going to be. This is the first day of our 2-day seminar, and the topic today is innovation. This evening we're talking about innovation as a tool for personal, professional, and national development. Innovation as a tool for personal, professional, and national development. That is the core of what we'll be discussing this evening, right? And I really want to get into it right away, because we have quite a journey to go. So here's the thing. This evening I'm going to focus more on personal and professional development. Then tomorrow we'll take it at the national level, how innovation, how creativity, innovation, invention can be a tool, a potent tool for national development. So for today I'm going to focus on you, and then tomorrow I'm going to focus on national development. That's how I broke it up in my mind after the host, my very good host, informed me that he would like me to speak on both evenings. So I said, okay, that's fantastic. Speaking on both evenings gives us chance to cover more grounds, and we'll be able to make the most of our time together. So I'm going to start this evening by saying a big thank you to Mr. Ayodele Oyejide, right? Mr. Ayodele Oyejide. So is the man that has put this seminar together, so that we can discuss these things, these issues, and see how you and I we can work together and see how we can advance personally and even collectively. All right. And I want to start off with something I posted on my personal wall a couple of hours ago, I think earlier today or thereabout, on this subject of creativity, right? Here's the thing. There's a need for us to come to an important understanding, and that is the understanding that in this century, knowledge, innovation, and creativity are the key drivers of the 21st century. And this is what will propel us forward, right? Not only individually now, but even as a nation. We have to get to that point whereby we understand clearly that knowledge, innovation, and creativity are the primary drivers of this 21st century. That is what will drive us forward, both individually, professionally, and even as a nation. That's the summary. I mean that's the summary of this 2-day seminar that Mr. Ayodele has so graciously put together. All right. So let me start off on this note. All right. Now, like it or not, we are living in the middle of a pandemic, right? We're living in the middle of a pandemic, and some people have said certain things about the pandemic, and no matter how it looks, you realize that there is an iota of truth in what they are saying. All right. And by the way, feel free to drop a comment at any point in time. All right. If you have a question, need clarification, just drop a comment. I have access to the comment box here. I can also drop a comment from here, and I can make adjustments over here as the case may be. Okay. All right. So when we talk of COVID-19, we are living through a pandemic. That's the COVID-19 pandemic. And some people have jokingly said that it looks as if our history, mankind's history, can be divided into two: before COVID-19 and after COVID-19. COVID-19 has had a major impact on our society, major impact on businesses, major impact on economies, major impact on things all over the world, right? And it has changed the world as we know it forever. The world is no longer what it used to be. COVID-19 has really changed what it's all about. All right. And when we talk of a post-COVID-19 world, we talk of how the effect and the changes that are happening, due to the effect of the pandemic and things like that. All right. So here's the thing. You talk of the effects of COVID-19 on the world. You talk of the death of travel and the death of location. For many years, technology was making location more and more irrelevant, right? But nowadays, COVID-19 took it to the next level. You understand? Even COVID-19 and the post-COVID-19 era, it has suddenly become okay for people to have meetings online rather than physically, right? I look back at 2015, look back at all these seasons. And I remember how, you know, I got, will I say, castigated now when I suggested to certain eyebrow clients that you guys, you know, we can just meet online and have an online meeting and things like that. And they felt, what's Morebise saying? You know, like, how dare you suggest an online meeting, you know, and things like that, right? You know, and funny enough, yesterday, someone called and said, you know what, I'm thinking of doing something online. I want to set up a new website and all that. And they said, so we're going to have a meeting. I said, okay, is that an online meeting or a physical meeting? The person was like, Morebise, who does physical meetings anymore? Okay, I'll send the Zoom meetings. We'll meet tomorrow, which is today. So we had the meeting today, so it was online and things like that. And I'll chip this in, right? So we had the meeting today, and strictly speaking, all right, to be sincere, all right, this client didn't really have so much clarity about what they wanted. You understand? Like what they pitched us yesterday on the phone call was totally different by the time we got into the details of the meeting today. And so I told my COO, I said, Mr. CEO, you see now, meetings like, imagine that this was a physical meeting, we would have been offended and frustrated because, you know, we go through the crazy traffic to sit down and this is what they are discussing, you know. But now that it's online, it's okay. We just jump on the call, had a very productive meeting. We go back to the things we were doing before. So post-COVID-19 season, you know, you talk of the death of location. Location is no longer as important as it used to be. That's one. We talk of the death of commercial real estate, all right? You know, during the COVID-19 lockdown period, my heart kept on going to all those massive skyscrapers in you know, New York, whereby you have 11 floors, you have 12 floors of human being doing God knows what, okay? Doing God knows what. So they are there, 10 floors, 12 floors of building, and they are there, you know, doing whatever. And now COVID-19, everybody is at home. What's going to happen to those skyscrapers going forward? You know, I mean, most of these big companies have already announced their plans to maintain, their plans to basically, you know, just, you know, get out of this office mentality. I think Google and co, they started doing remote work now, whereby they give their employees, right, an incentive to work remotely. That we are not going to open this office until next year. I mean, I think Google has made the announcement. Some companies have made the announcement. Quora, they've made the announcement that, you know what, guys, we are going remote for now. Nobody works in the office anymore. So these are changes, all right? These are changes and all that. And of course, the big star Zoom. Zoom just won the coronavirus season. You understand? You can't make this stuff up. You understand? So the world is changing. We're now in a post-COVID-19 world. And when I think about all the changes going on in the world, I realize that there's one major change that the COVID-19 has made in the world that will resonate with us for many years to come. All right? And here's what I mean. So if you really think about it, you realize that the major way COVID-19 has changed the world is that for the first time in a very, very long time, right, we are being forced to think. Okay, for the first time in a very long time, we are being forced to think. That is the major way COVID-19 has really, really changed the world. It has forced us to think. All right. So suddenly now, questions that we've not needed to answer for 100 years, we suddenly need to answer those questions. Here's what I mean. All right. If I asked you now, 1 + 1, what is 1 + 1? You're going to answer 1 + 1 is equal to 2. So here's my question. Did you think about it, or did you just provide an answer? 2. You know, did you think about it, or did you just provide an answer? Let me see your what you think in the comments. Right, I can see the comments right here. All right, did you think about the answer? Did you think about it and say 1 + 1? What's 1 + 1? Or did you just answer 2 automatically? All right, I believe it's the latter. Right, we just face life with automatic answers because we've not needed to think before supplying answers. So COVID-19 has changed the world because for the first time in a long time, we are being forced to think. We are being forced to think. And so when we think, right, then we have to come up with a new answer. That is one major way it has changed the world. Let me give you an illustration. So there was this, I read this really old story about a castle in Russia, the old Russian Empire, right? And so there was this Russian guard that was posted to a odd position. The instructions are just to go there every single day. And so one day, someone said, look, why are we posting a guard to this part of the castle? That place, there's nothing going on there. There's nothing there except bush and things like that. All right. And so someone said, yeah, we just post someone there. And someone said, look, let's find out, why do we post someone to that place? All right. Why do we do that? Okay. So they went through the history books and realized that many years ago, over 100 years earlier, all right, there was a young princess that planted a rose in that spot. And she sat down to watch over the rose because she was afraid that a wild animal might come around and destroy the rose. And so her father, the king, came there and said, daughter, we have to go inside now. It's getting late. She said she was not going to leave the rose. And so the father, the king, ordered a guard to come and watch over the rose. He did that the first day. The next day, he did it the second day. So they now started routinely sending a guard there to go and watch over the princess rose. Now it has been 100 years. The rose has withered. The princess has died. Everybody that knew about the story had gone away, right? But they were still guarding what was no longer there, all right? And when I think about our world now, I believe that is exactly our situation, all right? The old rules that were guarding the world is gone, all right? Like, it's game over. And it is time now to take that step, to take that leap into this 21st century, all right? So just like that guard was guarding something that was no longer there, because nobody was asking questions, nobody was thinking, they were just following the law. The law says we should post a guard to that part of the castle ground. Even though there's nothing there, we are guarding. Nobody had the sense to ask a question and say, you know what? And say, nobody had to ask a question and say, I have a question. What is your question? My question is, what exactly am I guarding in that part of the castle? Okay, so we need to ask questions, and that is the major thing COVID-19 has done. So now we start asking questions now. I want to have a meeting. Somebody is asking a question. Is that meeting important? All right. In 2008, you didn't ask the question. You just called the meeting, and everybody had to be there physically. Now we ask questions like, do I have to be there? Can we have this call? Can we have this meeting over Zoom? Can we just send a text message and we've forgotten about the meeting? So are we thinking, or do we have the illusion that we are thinking? Because it's two different things entirely, all right? Two different things entirely, okay? So like I said, this evening, I want us to focus on our personal and professional development, the role of innovation in our personal development, the role of innovation in our professional development. And while I believe this is very, very important going forward, all right? So the main fallout now is that we need to think, all right? COVID-19 has made it compulsory that we think. If we are not thinking now, if you are not thinking, you are up to, you are on your own, more or less. Okay, so let's see. Now, so we have all these dramatic changes happening around us. The world is slowly moving away from the past decade and everything. We're moving to a new decade now. And I want to point something to you. In as much as we talk about the fact that, the fourth industrial revolution, for example, all right? The truth of the matter is that during the industrial revolution was all about taking proven solutions and then scaling it up. That was everything as far as industrial revolution was concerned. So this thing has been known to work. So we take it, then we scale it up. So if you wanted to make a lot of money back then in the 1990s, right? 1990s, early 2000, all you needed to do was to build an industry, build a factory, you're going to make money. So you build a block making factory. So you build a factory that produces cement, noodles, sugar, rice, whatever, at scale. That was what you needed to win. And when it comes to industry, the most important thing is efficiency and competence. All right? Efficiency and competence. That was the most important thing. But today, in 2020, efficiency and competence will get you nothing in today's world. All right? The buzzword today, which you would agree with me, is that the buzzword today is creativity and innovation. People are always talking of innovation. If you say, I want to start a business, they say, okay, cool, start a business, but are you innovative? What's the innovation in your business? What is the new idea you are bringing to the table? That's what we're going to ask you now. What's the new idea you're bringing to the table? What's the creativity you're bringing to the table? What's the new angle you're bringing to the table? Those are questions they are going to ask you. You understand? What are you bringing to the table? So it's no longer about you taking an idea to run with. Now you have to bring something new to the table. So creativity and innovation is now the buzzword in our society today are no longer efficiency and competence, right? If you had two people, one was efficient, one was competent, one was creative, you are more likely going to look for someone that is creative to fill the ranks, because you just don't need, today's world simply needs a new kind of human beings. We need creative human beings now, much more than ever before. All right. So here's the thing. If you go back, say 10 years, this is 2020 now, you go back 10 years, you get to 2010, go back 10 years again, you're going to get to the year 2000 or thereabouts. If you compare our society from 2000 to our society now in 2020, you realize that there's a great shift, right? I mean, it's amazing that 20 years ago, none of this was possible, all right? I'm here online with my cell phone hooked up to my laptop and beaming live across the world. Anybody with an internet-enabled device can easily connect with this program, and watch me live. I'm streaming over a 4G network, right? 20 years ago, we didn't even have 1G in Nigeria. I mean, just pause and think about that, right? 20 years ago, we did not even have 1G in this Nigeria. You know, now we're talking of 4G. Now I'm streaming a seminar from my home office to you, wherever you are, right? And we are having a conversation. I'm checking the comments right now. I see your comment here, and this is a live event in 2020. None of this was possible 20 years ago. In 5 years' time, 10 years' time, who knows what's going to be happening, right? With more advancements in technology. 20 years ago, the banks we had 20 years ago are not the kind of banks we have now. 20 years ago, for some of you old enough to understand what I'm talking about, 20 years ago, the banks were not networked. There was no ATM. All right. So 20 years ago, the banks, if you maintain different banks in different physical places, you know. So let's say, for example, you had a UBA account, right, with their branch on Oregon Road. Let's make it simple. I have a UBA account with UBA Oregon Road. If I travel to Port Harcourt, they don't know me. In Port Harcourt, I have to open a new bank account with UBA Port Harcourt. So UBA Lagos is a totally different. UBA Oregon is different from UBA VI. You understand that? I mean, those that are old enough can always confirm in the comments below. All right. I mean, if you're not talking about, you can post in the comments right there. You know. I mean, so there was this thing whereby it was disconnected. Then they started to network the banks together. Today now, you have just one single account across all the banks. If you have a UBA account, it's a UBA account all over. All right. No longer, you don't need to open accounts all over the place. It's a single account nowadays. You know. So those are some of the advancements in technology that we are talking about. Okay. Creativity is the number one skill that you need now. Simple. It's as simple as that. All right. I've taken my time to go through research from top global organizations like the World Economic Forum. Talk of LinkedIn. LinkedIn did research for 2 years in a row. That's 2019, 2020. They said creativity is the number one skill that is needed in the modern workplace. And I've told you the reason. The reason is because industrialization now, since are industrialized, people are already producing things in bulk. Machines are coming up, automation everywhere. So it becomes, what can you bring to the table that we don't already have? And remember, you have thousands of competition out there. You have competition all over the place. It comes down to what is unique about you. What are you bringing to the table that no one else is bringing to the table? You know, and that is the major thing that it becomes about. So this era now, it's a season to think. Like I've explained to you, we need to think now, because we are now having to answer questions now that have not been asked before. That's the first thing. All right. And then secondly, you know, this is just the era for us to do creative things. Okay. So I mean, things have changed in there's no industry that has not undergone massive changes in the past 10 years, 20 years. There's no industry. Banking, education, we talk of education, talk of online learning now. You can take online courses. You can stay in Nigeria and you're attending lectures in Stanford, right? You log into a Zoom class, get into classes on Zoom. You take online courses, you take video tutorials, you have one-on-one sessions with your tutors online. There is no industry that has not changed drastically over the next 20 years. And we can only imagine what the next year is going to be about. Okay, yes, because this is the number one skill that we need now. Thank you for that, for the comment, all right? So, So, I mean, there's this rapid rate at which the world is changing, and it calls for concern that, Nigerians, we don't seem to be getting empowered to deal with the upcoming changes in the world around us. That's what I've noticed, right? It looks as if we are just relaxed, doing nothing, right? While all these things is just passing us by, all right? You have this thing, new changes are coming, things are happening, and it looks as if Nigerians are not bothered enough in order to look for how they can, strategize, how we can strategically position ourselves for this new century. Because the truth of the matter is this: nobody knows what the world is going to look like post-COVID-19. Nobody, all right? The other day, someone cracked a joke on my Facebook wall. He said that, there's this season people were just doing seminar after seminar online, marketing in COVID-19, seminar for COVID-19 and so on. Someone had COVID-19 master classes, right? Someone had posted, he said, reminder, nobody has lived through COVID-19 before. So all these seminars you're attending, what's up? So it is wrong for us to say, there's this thinking that, I'm going to just say this openly, right? We think that there are some people, some Oyimbos, that they figured it out, right? And so all we have to do is to simply wait for them to tell us what next, then we follow. We don't have to do that, all right? What we need to do is to think. COVID-19 is a leveler, all right? All the laws of the society, all our ethics, work ethic, everything gone out the window, all right? It has gone out the window now, all right? What we need to do now is to see how we can think and come up with new concepts, new insights, new ideas that can actually move the needle for us. That's what's important. So my challenge is that Nigerians, we don't seem to be getting empowered to do with what is coming, and that is one major theme around what I do. So I like to create awareness that, guys, in 2020, the number one skill you need is creativity. The competition is crazy. Efficiency is not all we need now. We need creativity. I think that the one reason why Nigerians don't seem to pay much attention to creativity is simply because, if you think about it, the two biggest drivers in Nigeria is the Nigerian government, politics and Nigerian government on one side. The second major driver in the Nigerian society is academia. Those two institutions are major pillars. And those pillars, they don't emphasize and promote creativity and productivity. They don't. What happens in our government today is bureaucracy. In fact, government it's not a Nigerian problem. All across the world, right? Governments are notorious for being unwieldy, right? They are notorious for being unwieldy. They are notorious for being ineffective and inefficient. That's the truth of the matter. Governments all across the world, governments are notorious, right? They are notorious for being ineffective and for being unwieldy. That's how government is, all right? So when you let that sink into your mind for a moment, you realize that we don't have the incentive for creativity. There's no incentive for there's little or no incentive for creativity. You are not insensitized to be creative by the government and by the academia. And like I said, these are the two major drivers of the Nigerian society, and both of them, they don't emphasize creativity. We are doing things the way we have been doing it before, and we were expecting different results, right? So what you see is that these two institutions, they are just giving us this let's just get by mindset. All right, and so the mainstream idea as Nigerians is, how can we get a job, preferably in the civil service, and just run down the clock every day? That's what we want to do. We're not looking for how can we add value, how can we turn things up, and that is a big mistake, very, very big mistake. All right, there's barely any interest in the average Nigerian to add real value to others, or to find some purpose and fulfillment in what is being done. There's hardly any incentive to do that. Very few people take pride in their work. For most of us, it's just about getting paid, all right? And this has served us well in the decades before, right? Like I said, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, this was fine. Just come to work every day, run down the clock. But in 2020, that is no longer going to be acceptable, all right? It's not going to be acceptable. So I can assure you, I can say with a degree of confidence that the era of mediocrity is over. The era of mediocrity is over, all right? And there are two main reasons for this. Reason number one. Now, we are not going to need a workforce that is as large as we used to. That's the truth. We are not going to need large workforce like we used to. The industrial era boomed and it blows on because we needed thousands of workers to sit down in factory rows every single day. But now in 2020, you no longer need thousands of workers to sit down every single day. I mean, I've gone through the research, right? Comparing American companies like Ford Motors from back in the day when the motor car was invented and they began to mass produce vehicles, right? There were thousands of jobs. Google employs way less staff than those companies or those previous era. And this thing is due to, the world has firmly moved on. You're no longer chasing success by inducing a large workforce to cooperate with you. That is no longer the key to success. It was the industrial era that was creating jobs, over and over again. So you did not need knowledge, you did not need any personal growth, you did not need any creativity. All you had to do was to come to work every single day and run down the clock by repeating 2 or 3 steps over and over again. So you take this thing, you put it in this thing, you take it out again, put it here, it goes back to the next person. That was how you get paid back then. But now in 2020, that's no longer the case. Now you are going to need knowledge. If you're going to succeed in 2020 now, you're going to need knowledge. You're going to succeed in 2020. You are going to need to grow personally. You can no longer take your personal development for granted. It's as simple as that. I mean, I have an unpopular opinion, guys. I have an unpopular opinion. And my opinion is this. I believe that right now, we can save billions of naira if a government got up and said, you know what? I'm going to take out so many people out of the civil service, all right? Because when you talk about the civil service, when you think about the civil service, you're going to find out that you have so many people there that all they do in the civil service is that they hand you a form, you fill the form, they go through the form, they say it's okay, they stamp the form, take to the next office, where someone looks at the form a second time, says it's okay, stamps it again, takes to the next place, go through the form again, stamp it again, then it goes 3 or 4 steps. Today in 2020, a simple Google form can automatically check if the form is properly filled, and when you click submit, it goes directly to the office where it's going to be processed. We no longer need 3 or 4 middlemen to check the forms, right? But I mean, who's going to make that campaign, right? Who's going to campaign and say, hey guys, vote for me. Once you vote for me, I'm going to sack every civil servant that is not engaged in a productive job. You see, so that's the first reason. We will not need as much workers going forward because of automation. All right. The second reason is globalization. The world is truly becoming a global village. Your competition is no longer local. I mean, I say this every time. You are not my competition. I am not your competition. All right. Our competition is global. You understand? Global. All right. I mean, you have remote working is on the rise and it's going to continue that way. All right. And thanks to COVID-19, the trend is going to continue. You understand what I'm trying to say? The trend will continue thanks to COVID-19 and other factors, right? Imagine companies like Google say they will open their office until next year. Is it Google? I think it's Twitter. So I think it's Twitter, right? That we're not going to open our office again until next year. That for this year, office closed. We're working remotely. So if that's the case, I mean, anybody with that mindset of I'm going to get a job where I go there, I just run down the clock and I'm going to live happily ever after, you're going to find nothing but tears and gnashing of teeth. Okay? Previously, all you needed to succeed was competence. If you could be competent and diligent, you were sure to get a seat at the table. Competence, diligence, efficiency, those were the keys to success in the 19th century and up to a point in the 20th century. But now in the 21st century, the key word is innovation and creativity. I'm sure you know this. I'm sure you hear this every single day. All right, those days are gone. The human workers that are still going to have a job going forward, you have to be knowledgeable, you have to be highly skilled, and you must pursue excellence in everything you do. Knowledge, skills, and you must pursue excellence in everything that you do. All right. When we talk about industries, industries are primarily driven by scale, efficiency, and maximum productivity for maximum profit. That's what drives industry. You know, I know what I'm saying, all right? Industries are primarily driven by scale, efficiency, and maximum productivity. That's what drives industry. We don't run industry based on emotion or sentiment. Real business will continue to optimize themselves for profit, regardless of an unproductive government, regardless of unproductive academia. Real industry is not going to wait, right, and do nothing. No, what I said that most governments in Nigeria, from federal to local government, they can save billions of money. All they have to do is to say that, you know, I mean, you can close a lot of clerks, a lot of secretaries, you sack all of them, you free the space, fill this form online, submit online. You won't need so many human workers anymore. But no government official will do that because it's political, right? I mean, government will tell you they're trying to create more jobs, even though that's not the reality. Okay? So here's my point. I said in Nigerian society, we are not getting empowered, we are not getting ready for serious things. And the reason is because the two key drivers of the Nigerian society is the politics/government and academia, not industry. If industry was driving Nigeria, right, this would be way different from where we are now. So we are not in Nigeria. Industries don't drive Nigeria. It's politics and government that drives Nigeria. But I'll get into more of that tomorrow when I talk of national development, right? But I need to print it out, you know, black and white for you to realize that personally and professionally, your chances of success in 2020 is slim if you do not embrace creativity, if you refuse to switch to creativity. All right, that is the main thing I want to push out. So we cannot allow unproductive civil servants and a largely sluggish ivory tower in Nigeria to set the pace for the Nigerian society. We will lose. In fact, we've lost already. Okay, the world is totally different now, and we must evolve. All right, we are going to evolve. This decade, 2020 to 2029, is ushering in the fourth industrial revolution. It's happening. All right, there are new technologies now that are shaping every industry. Okay, let me see if I can pull up this chart. Oh, no need. I need to pull up any chart for you. All right, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, remember, if you have any question. If you have any question at any point in time, you can just drop it. I have the comment here. I'm going to the comment here. I hope you are following. Please let me know if you are following along, you know, so we can have a maximum time here. I know I will soon begin to wrap up so I can take all your questions, you know, once and for all. So let's just keep going. All right, let's keep going. All right. So creativity is the number one skill that is in demand now. Number one soft skill in demand now is creativity. It's no longer enough to be efficient. It's no longer enough to be diligent. Creativity is the key. And nobody knows what the world is going to look like post-COVID-19. So don't let anybody, you know, bamboozle us, all right? Africans, Nigerians like you and me, we can come up with new ideas, new solutions. We can think and we can make things happen. I believe strongly that Africa can become the center of new ideas, innovation and creativity in this 21st century. I believe strongly in my heart that global ideas that have Nigerian origin, global ideas that have African origin can truly, all right, you know, shape this century of ours. I believe strongly in my heart of hearts. Okay, strongly in my heart of hearts. All right. And it's interesting that we are talking about the fact that creativity is the number one skill we need to survive. I mean, it's crazy. You know why? I think it is the equivalent of insisting that, you know, you must be breathing if you want to succeed. I mean, breathing is important. There's no doubt about that. However, except under special circumstances, one does not consciously breathe. You don't breathe consciously. Breathing is a fundamental trait of a living human being. All right, just like creativity. If you are breathing, you can be creative. You know, creativity and breathing are some of the things every human should be capable of doing. Just like breathing, creativity should not be a big deal under ideal circumstances. All right, but of course, it seems as if things are no longer ideal and all that. All right, but as we dig deeper into the century, you realize that you have no other option but to embrace creativity as a fundamental behavior that will equip you for social economic relevance and lasting success. All right, and really, I don't think there's any other way. If you want to succeed this century, creativity is a fundamental behavior that you must embrace for maximum success. All right, I mean, many years ago, all you needed was a bachelor's degree. Several years later, all you needed was a foreign degree and things like that. But today now, creativity is the main thing that you need. And some people feel that all we have to do, is to just work harder. That if you work hard, you're going to succeed this century. But that's not the case. Okay, like I've told you, it's no longer about diligence and competence. You need to bring much more than that. All right, I'm going to read a quote for you now from Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon and now the richest man in the world, right? $200 billion man. And let me let you guys in on this secret. All right, now here's the thing. The media is busy saying, Jeff Bezos, $200 billion is the richest man in the whole of history and things like that. I just smiled in my mind, right? Because someone like President Putin of Russia, someone like MBS of Saudi Arabia, I mean, those guys are not on Forbes list, but I can assure you that they are controlling more than $200 billion. All right, do your research. President Putin of Russia, MBS Saudi Arabia, those guys are controlling way more than 200 billion like Jeff Bezos. But let's just put that in one corner, right? This is not that discussion. Okay, creativity. Okay. So let me read this quote for you, all right? If you are thinking all you have to do is to work hard, I want to consider this. Back in 1997, Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, told his shareholders that employees at other companies can choose to work long, hard, or smart. But at Amazon.com, you can't choose 2 out of 3. All right. In other words, if you want to work for us at Amazon, you must be ready to work long, you must be ready to work hard, you must be ready to work smart. So Amazon.com did not become the e-commerce giant doing billions in revenue. They didn't become the e-commerce giant worth $1 trillion by just working hard on the job. That is not it. Because Nigerians will work hard, but we are not knowledge workers. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. Let me check the comments. Okay, let me see the comments. All right. Okay. All right. Nigerians, we work hard. We work hard already. But that our hard work, we've not added knowledge to it. And that is why we are physically diligent, but mentally lazy. I'll let that sink in. Right? Physically, we are diligent, but mentally, we are lazy. And that is the big problem. Because in today's world, it's no longer enough to be physically diligent. You have to be diligent up here also. You have to add knowledge to what you are doing. That is one big shift that needs to happen. All right? I mean, we need to get to this point where we start asking people, all right? Do you have 10 years experience in your job? Or are you merely experienced 1 year 10 times? Have you repeated that thing you do every day? Do you simply do it every day for 1 year and then you did that 1 year 10 times and now you are bragging that you have 10 years experience? Or have you really experienced different dimension in those 10 years? In 2020, there must be creativity at every turn. In 2020, there must be a drive for excellent performance at every turn. You must be interested in maximum productivity and value creation if you are going to achieve personal success and professional success. The rules of your profession has changed. The rules of your profession is changing. And if you don't align with the new changes, you would realize that you are not able to get a lot of things done. It's as simple as that. The power supply has gone. Let's see. Okay, can you still see me? Maybe you'll try to put on the generator or something. Can you still see me? Should I continue? Are you guys in the chat there? Okay, I'm even nearly done. I've been on for 45 minutes already. I need to start rounding up. Can you guys still see me, or should I need to fix the lighting or something? Okay. Can you guys see me? I think I'll just proceed. Okay, so I can see you. Okay. Am I still clear? Can you hear me? Am I audible and can you see me? Interesting, maximum productivity. Okay. All right, let's just proceed and just wrap this up quickly. Okay. So, hard workers. Nigerians are hard workers, but that needs to change in our generation. For you to succeed in 2020, you must do more than just being a hard worker. You understand? You have to do more than just be a hard worker if you are going to succeed in 2020. Okay? If you're going to succeed in 2020, you must do more than just I am working hard. And working hard is no longer a solution. Because if you think about it, any job that does not require knowledge can easily be automated. Now, I want you to listen carefully to this. Listen carefully to this. This century, you and I will prefer to automate things rather than delegate to another human being. 50 years ago, 100 years ago, delegation was the game. Today, the game is automation. In fact, the two things that are changing the way the world works, right? COVID-19 or no COVID-19, two things changing how the world works is number one, automation. Number two, globalization. In fact, talking about the American economy, there was a time that they were talking, there was this, they called this government, the government called a meeting with all these stakeholders and said, look, what about jobs? What are you doing about jobs? I said, look, guys, it's not really about, yes, we know we've taken out certain jobs from America to China, but even beyond that, those jobs we exported, the truth is that automation, right, has put more people out of work than even, outsourcing. All right? I mean, I was discussing with my CEO the other day. I was explaining to him, I said, LinkedIn bought a company. That company, what they did was to save business cards on your behalf. So you get a business card, you snap it, scan it into the app, and you can destroy the card. So the content of the card will show up in your address book automatically. But the app that was doing that was actually using human beings in India to provide that functionality. So LinkedIn, was it LinkedIn now? One of these American companies bought that startup, and then they're now trying to automate the process, which means they sacked so many human beings that are doing that transcription service and just use the computer, machine learning, read the card, extract the information, and boom, done. You get the idea. So this change, people are going to do more of automation than delegation. That is what matters. So things are changing, radical transformation of work and everything. So this is not the century to be a hard worker. That is what I want you to understand. All right? That's what I want you to understand. That's what I want you to understand. This century is not for the hard workers. I can work hard. That's fine. God bless you for working hard. You're a hard worker. That's fine. But this century is not for the hard worker. This century is for the creative worker, because it's about creativity now. It's no longer about working hard. So if you want to succeed, if you are serious about succeeding you want to succeed personally, you want to succeed professionally, please understand that creativity is more important than working hard or working long. Creativity is more, and things like that. You can't stop the march of creativity. You cannot. You cannot stop the march of creativity. Creativity is the real skill that we have to do. And like I said, creativity is a fundamental aspect of who you are. Creativity is as fundamental to us as breathing is. All we have to do, is we have to reclaim our creativity. Because I'll be the first to admit that, bland schooling, mediocrity in society, you understand, has really dulled our ability to be creative. All right? We have to mature beyond rote learning. We need to mature beyond skill acquisition. We have to mature beyond working hard. These are the three things Nigerians do. We can cram for Africa. The average Nigerian, the average African, we can cram anything. Cramming is not going to save you in 2020, all right? We like skill acquisition. Let's go and learn a skill. Web design, blah, blah, blah. Let's do all those. So skill acquisition. It's not going to save us. We have to move on to critical thinking. We have to move on to complex problem solving. We have to move on to creativity. Those are the requirements for this century that we find ourselves in, all right? That is how innovation becomes a tool for your personal development, a tool for your professional development, all right? That is it. So we need us to switch to creativity. That is how we are going to get anything done in 2020. I'm going to read this quote to you from Julian F. Fleron, all right? I'm going to read this quote to you, and I'm going to end on this note also. It says, "The creative adult is the child that survived after the world tried killing them and making them grown up. The creative adult is the child who survived the blandness of schooling, the unhelpful words of bad teachers, and the naysaying ways of the world. The creative adult is in essence simply that, a child. All right? The creative adult is the child who survived after the world tried to kill them by making them grown up. All right? The creative adult is the child that survived the blandness of schooling, the unhelpful words of bad teachers, and the naysaying ways of the world. The creative adult is in essence that, a child. Julian F. Flavon. So this century, we need to do more than working hard. This season, we need to do more than working hard, do more than being efficient and competent. It is more than being diligent, This is no longer the season of if you are diligent in your work, you stand before king. No, sir. It is creative people that are standing before kings now. You know what I'm saying? All right. Creativity is the watchword. Creativity is the key. All right. And I want us to embrace creativity as a fundamental aspect of life. All right. So thank you so much for being a part of the seminar this evening. Now I'm going to take your questions. So let's have your questions and let's have a nice time. Thank you so much for taking our time to hang out with us this evening on this seminar. Thank you.